So we often get pulled into situations with families who aren't able to buy a home. They take the avenue of deciding to construct a residence that requires typically the engagement of an architect, a custom design, and the execution of the construction of that design. The design of those structures is not always intuitive to people. So when we present them with the drawings in 2 dimensions from the architect, it's difficult sometimes for them to understand exactly what is my finished residence going to look like. So today I've got my friend Evander with me again. You may recognize him from some previous videos. He's with Vivid Design Studio, and he's got this very cool tool that is really neat. He was explaining it to me last week. It's going to help people to understand, what is this thing going to look like when I get it all built, but I don't have to wait for it to be built. So Evander, tell us what you got. I'm so glad to be with you again.
Absolutely. Good to be here again. What we do now is we are putting our clients immersively into their projects by using virtual reality. So we put them on headsets and they walk around their project, and it's a 2-part process. The first part, we call it the drywall walkthrough, which is basically a black and white model. And this is just to understand the spatial of the architectural plans and the volume of the spaces, because presenting a 2D black and white plan can be very confusing to a lot of clients. But now we actually put them in there without color, so they don't get fixated at this point on how things look and the color of the cabinets. It's just to understand the architecture, how big this room is. And it's all done one to one to one.
Where are the windows? How big are the windows in relation to doorways?
How much light is coming in? We can do sun studies, and we can tell them where the sun is going to be at a certain time of the day when they're sitting in their living room. And this is just really to confirm the architecture before we move on to the next step, which is the construction documents.
So if I get this, you do the design, and then you go into a virtual reality setting of some kind using the cool goggles that you have, and they're able to walk through and see the physical white spaces.
Absolutely.
Okay, so at this point, we're not looking at the details. So this is just to say, is that door where I want it to be? Is that line of sight into the kitchen where I want it to be?
Is my closet big enough?
All of those kind of things. So they're walking through the space. When they're putting on these goggles, are they physically walking, or are they just moving their body a little bit?
You are physically walking through the model.
So they're moving their feet with the goggles on?
Yep, absolutely. They're moving their feet with the goggles on. You can also point and shoot and teleport to where you want to be. So if you're in the kitchen, you don't have to necessarily walk through the entire house to get to the living room. You can point and shoot, but it's all 1-to-1 scale, all walking through physically and getting the true actual feeling when you're in the space.
That is so cool. So you've got them able to make tweaks to the design, move that door over, or raise that ceiling height a little bit, or shift that window, all of these kinds of things, because they've experienced the real building, right, in 3D.
Or in some cases, something that someone thought that they wanted, they don't actually end up wanting once they see it. And very important design decisions are made. I had one client, 2 staircases, one going up, grand staircase, one going down. So 4 staircases in their foyer. Something that they for sure thought that they wanted. When they saw it in 3D, they didn't like the amount of railing. Something that he didn't anticipate by just looking at the plans. So we ended up changing the staircase design, which ultimately led to a massive change throughout the entire drawings, all because they were able to see it before they did the actual framing walkthrough.
That's fantastic. So not even a fork in the ground, you haven't even started construction, and you're making changes, eliminating things that are going to be a problem in the future.
My little phrase is, I can guarantee you're going to love your house because you're going to see it. You don't have to wait for it to get built before it's too late to make changes.
That's cool. So let's imagine that you've gone through that process and they've tweaked the design to be exactly what they're looking for. Tell us what the next steps are in the design process.
So the next step now is to get the interiors, meaning the colors, the floor palettes, the actual hardwood, the actual light fixtures. And we start implementing and putting in room by room these selections that either the client provides or we provide for them. And we do the walkthroughs again, but this time we have the correct light fixtures, the correct colors, the correct fireplaces and designs, and it's all in color, and it's as if you're walking through a rendering.
And so even if you have like Let's say you get down to the detail of the crowns and of the moldings and the base and the door jambs. All of that detail can be present inside these models.
Absolutely. If you want 8-inch base molding with the outlets in it, if you want certain style of crown molding details and profiles, all this stuff can be chosen and then put into the model. And now the client can walk through the model.
Fantastic. So, question for you. When does this make sense for people who are designing homes? Because I'm sure there's a cost associated with this. That's a given. Does it make sense for people designing a 2,000 square foot home, 3,000, 10,000, 20,000? Where is kind of the sweet spot for people to take a look at this technology?
What we found is once you get over the 4,500, 5,000, really 5,000 plus square foot, we have some houses that we work on right now that are 7, 8, 9,000 square feet. Once you get past the 5,000 square foot price point or size, that's when it makes the most sense to use this service.
Okay.
Because that's when you can really get in there and start to understand. It's too hard to understand by looking at the plans, and there's so many spaces that need to be designed. And once you get past the 5,000 square feet, to me, it's a must.
Okay.
It's a must. Now, we do have some people on the opposite spectrum who are doing 25, 3,000 square feet, and now they have to make sure that they're absolutely using every square foot to their advantage. So this service also can come in handy on a smaller home to make sure that you are not wasting any space and that you're really taking advantage of a smaller square foot budget.
Got it. Very good. Shall we show people what it looks like? What's it feel like and what's the experience?
Absolutely.
Let's
go.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm outside.
There you go.
Great.
So now shoot into the house, but when you shoot at the floor.
At the floor in the entrance.
Yep, there you go.
And I'm at the front door. This is fantastic.
There you go. So this is full scale 1-to-1 of the actual house. So if you shoot into the house, there you go. Now you can walk around and you can experience the actual size of things, the actual height of the space, your true 1-to-1 layout. And while you're in here, I can be making changes and I can be showing you things. And if you just point at the ground and shoot, then you'll go to where it's at.
Okay, so I am literally standing in the foyer of this house.
Yep.
It's extremely clear. I'm looking off to the right. I can see the office. And then when I look to the left, I see a small hallway. I'm going to take a step down there. I'm now looking at a powder room. I'm looking inside. I can see up. I'm looking at the wallpaper, the windows, everything, the fixtures, the floor finishes.
Absolutely.
Going backwards, I'm going back
and if
over to the foyer.
And if you shoot into the great room,
into the great room now, we can see the coffered ceilings. And I see a bar off here to the right, the kitchen and the dining room off to the right, a big lanai off the back. Wow, unbelievable. And it appears to be like a primary
suite
bedroom over here.
I took off all the doors, so it's a little bit easier for you to get in and out.
Here.
Yep.
Very nice.
And that's the master bathroom. And
so this is really great because you actually have furniture placed in here.
So you can get a true sense of
getting an idea exactly what's going on with the spaces. I see you have nightstands and you've got tables and chairs and a fireplace and a whole lot of things that really allows me to see what's going on. And now I'm back into the primary bath. I see a big freestanding tub, mirrors, faucets. It's really, really spectacular.
Isn't this
How
cool?
long does it take for you to put together something like this where they can actually walk through? Is this something that you have to design from the ground up?
Well,
or is this something that you're taking somebody else's designs?
So I can do it one or the other way. When you work with me architecturally, we can do this process ground up and we work with the client to get these selections. Or sometimes I get people who already have an architect, who already have plans done, and they just need the interior aspect. So we'll build a model in 3D. And if they're already working with an interior designer, then they can feed us the selections and we'll put it in there for them. And the reason why I like this a lot is because this is when I'm just trying to confirm the architecture only.
Yeah.
And I don't want the client to get fixated on certain color tones of the hardwood and the paint on the walls. This is just, hey, look at the architecture, understand the ceiling heights, understand the step ceilings, understand the flow, understand the layout where the bedrooms are in relation to the kitchen. I call it the drywall walkthrough because it's just like as if you walked through the house when it was during drywall phase.
Unbelievable.
Yep. Look at you. You're a pro now. Now you're back to colors already.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Evander, thank you.
Absolutely.
Evander, thanks again. That was a fantastic experience. I can't imagine the benefit that people are going to get when they design their homes. Vivid Design Studio will send people your way. It was such a cool experience. I can't believe what I just saw. And I would encourage any of you who are contemplating designing and building a custom home, please get a hold of them. You're going to be really impressed with the level of comfort it gives you with what the final product is going to be.
Thank you, Tim. It's a pleasure.